Welcome to episode 21 of the Go Get 'em Agility podcast. My name is Margaret Hughes, and with me is Emma Hughes.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Emma.
Hello.
So we are not agreeing on what to talk about today. You want to talk about what?
I want to talk about pushing yourself and how I am of the opinion that I think that everybody should do a premier class once in their life and be successful. Or the equivalent of that, so UKI courses, harder courses than maybe what you would see in a normal trial.
And I want to continue talking about foundations and
about Eli
and not pushing your dog.
Right.
Okay, so maybe we can try and let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can marry these two concepts together. And you talk about working above a level that somebody might feel comfortable with. And I'm going to talk about not working above the level that your puppy feels confident with or your dog feels confident with.
I think that's a good premise because there is a balance, of course, with everything.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. So you go ahead and start.
So I have been doing agility for a little bit of background. I've been doing agility for a very long time, but only recently have I started to do the Premier class. So in AKC, that is the international inspired class. So you'll see backsides, maybe harder to weave pull entrances, maybe a longer course.
And when you say for not that long, how long are you talking? Because you've been doing them for at least five years. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you do Premier with Millie at the end of her career? Okay.
Yeah,
so
I did a few Premier classes, but I'm not in the grand scheme of things, I haven't been doing them extensively. So like if I go to a trial, right, I will do standard and jumpers rather than Premier because like that's the mock points, right? And so, given the chance, I would rather do that. And I think that there was a little while there where we were trying to get Dottie to be eligible for the United States team, and we didn't waste money on Premier because she didn't really need it at that point. She just needed regular cues.
Well, and how long has Premier been offered?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's only been, it's
Okay.
got to be less than 15 years because
Well, definitely less than 15.
I know that when I was around like 10 or so, it wasn't a thing. And I kind of remember when it did become a thing. Maybe I can't remember how old I was, but it was like a pretty big, all the international people were excited about it. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about the Premier class, and that is the AKC International Inspired course. I know if you do like UKI, that is United Kennel Club. It's British inspired courses, which is Europe inspired courses. British people, you're not part of Europe, I know this. And so it is also a EO and WAO, it could be other international teams as well, tryouts qualifier. So if you get a certain amount of cues in Premier, you will be invited to try out for the United States World Team if you want to. And so this is very attractive to a lot of people that wish to go to Europe or have aspirations for Europe, or people that have been to Europe and they want to keep going. That doesn't mean that you need to be in the European mindset to do Premier. So yes, when you go into Premier, you're going to see a lot of people that do want to go to Europe. I want to go to Europe, right? But you don't need to want to go to Europe. It's okay if you don't want to. But my point in this podcast, to preach for lack of a better word, is that it is of my opinion that I think Premier's the class that pushes you and your dog the most. And I think that every single handler that has ever done agility and will ever do agility should do at least a full weekend of Premier successfully. Because it is an eye-opening course. They are eye-opening courses. And
Premier. What do you mean by successfully?
Cue. I want you to cue.
Well, yeah, but that's out of your control unless without.
No, it's not.
With
if you practice, you can cue in Premier.
Okay, so you're saying that you think that people should strive towards doing a Premier class over the weekend.
Yes.
And that in their training, they should be training towards being able to accomplish and qualify
Yeah.
on a Premier course.
I don't mean that you should, be able to do the best backside the United States has ever seen. I'm saying that you should be able to have the skills in your little toolbox to say, yeah, we could do this. Me and my dog can do this. I'm not saying you should just go, oh, well, Emma said we should go do Premiere, so let's just see what happens. And if you get a cue by the skin of your teeth, yes, it's a cue, but was it a fun cue? Did you enjoy it?
Did your dog enjoy it?
Exactly. Yeah. And Premiere is very difficult. I don't really know another word for it. It is hard. It is, and I'm not saying that, I am a better handler than you because I like Premiere, but it is different.
It's technical.
Yeah, so the courses are very they're difficult. There's no nice way to put it. And also it does depend on the judge. I have seen some very hard Premiere courses where I'm like, wow, you would see this at like EO, and EO is the European Open, which is one of the international agility competitions. And then I've also seen some Premiere courses where I'm like, oh, this is just a master's course.
I want to jump in here and ask the question. You want people that are in the Master's Excellent classes to try Premiere, or are you talking about novice people too? I mean,
it depends. Right? Isn't this like the answer to every single one of our questions? Because I don't think you have to be in Masters to do Premiere, but I think if you know that you don't have the skills, you will know. Like if you want to see a Premiere course, you can go walk it maybe once or twice, even if you're not in the course, and you will know. You will know if you can't do these things, if you can't do.
Or look at the course map on the wall. Google Premiere, Google ISC.
Yeah, ISC is another big one. So, yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're not freaking people out, because I agree with you that I think that if you're in Masters, that having a beacon to look forward to, something to strive towards, I think that the Premier classes, the Master Series classes, are Master Series is the UKI version, and then Grand Prix is USDA's version, and there's a couple others in there. I think that striving towards being able to qualify on a Premier course is a fantastic thing. And I definitely agree with you that I think that everybody should eventually strive towards a Premier class. But I also don't think that you should go into a Premier class until you have trained the skills that are required. Otherwise, it's just a mess for the dog.
Well, that's what I said in the beginning, right? When you have to do this with confidence, but successfully, right? And by with confidence, I mean that, you've trained these things. Because it is quite common in Premiere, to see people are like, oh, well, we'll just try it. And then you go in and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head. But Go Get 'em Agility listeners, I want you to know you have the skills to train this. You are not in over your heads. It is just a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, and you will be able to do Premiere successfully.
Well, and it's understanding the different skills that are required. So
yeah,
in a regular class, in a regular standard class and a regular jumpers class, in general, for the most part, there are no backsides. There are minimal threadles. There will be minimal backside wraps. There will be very few difficult tunnel sends. As far as blind tunnel entrances, coming from the side of a tunnel entrance, there'll be very few of those. There'll be very few layering options for like weave pull entrances. The weave pull entrances will be less difficult in a standard.
I was waiting for this one.
As compared to a Premier or ISC course.
Right. I didn't know we were going to go into like the tunnels, so I was like, weave pulls, and then you kept going on about tunnels, and then I felt silly. Yeah, all those things. And it is, you know, they're hard to train, right? Because on top of these new things, we still have the trial environment. We still have, if you have a dog that doesn't have great weave pulls, still, you've got this premier course on top of the weave pulls that you might not have, or the contact you might not have. And so it is hard. So if you feel like you can't do this, if it's a little overwhelming right now, I'm not going to judge you for it. I don't judge agility people anyway, but it's just something to strive for. And if you say, Emma, I don't want to do this ever, this is not something I really want to do, it's not something I'm interested in, that's okay too.
Okay, so what are the main, if you were to say to somebody, these are the main skills that your dog has to have, what would they be?
Backsides, definitely. Weave pull entrances, definitely. And as a handler, this will be my third entry. As a handler, you have to be in front of your dog. You have to be. I mean, you don't have to be. You don't. I mean, you can get by, behind your dog, but you're gonna have to have some awesome distance,
Or
like
some
awesome.
or some verbals.
Yeah, exactly.
Strong
That's
verbals.
kind of we can. This kind of connects back to one of our last podcasts. I forget which one it was. We did one on verbals. We did. I can't remember when it was, but yeah. And I think I mentioned a lot of backside stuff then. But yeah, it is verbals as well is a very good point.
Yeah, and I think also a great skill to have would be an in cue.
Definitely.
So for threadles, either tunnel threadles or more importantly, jump threadles.
Yeah.
I mean, because you do see a lot of tunnel threadles in Masters regular stand.
Yeah, yeah. I
but
think
you,
with
you don't see a lot of jump threadles.
and my this is my opinion. I think masters and open and novice, they have more room. They have more you have more, I don't know how to explain it. They have more room to move. So when you are
You have more
in
room,
a
which translates to you have more room for mistakes.
well,
To be able
no.
to fix mistakes.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes. So that's exactly what I'm trying to say. That was very good. So there's always something next.
It's more of a dangerous domino effect because
Yes.
it the stacks of technical stuff continues. It's not just one or two pieces of the course, it's three or four, five pieces of the course. And
Right.
so if you mess up on one section of the course, it directly impacts the rest of the course. There's less time to reset
Mhm.
yourself to get in line for the next technical part of a course.
Right. I agree. That is well put.
So now can
I
we
think
talk
that's
about
yeah, I think
the,
that's it. I just really like Premiere and I keep trying to make people do it because it is my favorite class.
well,
It is so much fun.
I think that it's a class that you do see a lot of really well skilled dogs in that class, and so I think that it can intimidate people in the lower levels, people that
Mm,
are or people that are in masters that just don't feel their dogs have the skills. And I would take away from this podcast is don't be afraid of the skills that are required. Go train the skills that are required.
yeah,
And so go
yeah,
train the backsides, and when we say a backside, you're sending the dog to the backside of a jump, but how they come off of the jump, what direction they go, there's 5 training sessions right there.
yeah,
Do they come off coming towards you? Do they come off going away from you? Do they come off in a teardrop shape wrap? Do they come off in an S curve, continuing
slice.
the same
Yeah,
direction? So or do they come off in a full wrap going the same direction? So there's so many jump patterns on that one backside, and the same thing holds true for an in threadle, right? Like coming
yeah,
you on a slice, coming into you on a wrap. So many technical pieces of both a backside and an in that really just take figuring out what they are and then training for them. So one of my foundation things is we train right side, we train left side. Exact same thing. You train right side on the backside, you train left side on the backside, you train coming with you on the same side of the backside, you train going away from you on the opposite side of the backside. So there's every single piece of a handling skill automatically has a 1-2 element to it. They're on your right side, they're on your left side. There's 2 elements right there. And then they go away from you, they come into you, there's 2 more elements. So now we're up to 4, right? And so taking every single skill that Premier requires and training it every direction, every side, every combination of entrance. Are you coming off of a tunnel? Are you coming off of another jump? Are you coming off of a contact? Are you going into a tunnel? Are you going into weave pulls? Are you going into a contact obstacle? So
Yes.
yeah, just train.
We should have like 2 podcasts where it's like general go get 'em, and then it's like nerd go get 'em, where we just like list a bunch of like things that people are like, what are they talking about?
So I once did a spreadsheet. I started a spreadsheet. I never actually finished it because it truly became overwhelming for what I wanted to do it for. So I wanted to do this spreadsheet for my new people, and straight away I went, whoa, this is going to be
Was it
way,
like a skill spreadsheet?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it was going to be way over the heads, and I didn't want to intimidate them. And that's why it was intimidating, because all the moves that you need from Premiere were all these moves that I was putting into this spreadsheet, and I could see how it would overwhelm a new participant, a new person in agility. So I don't think that Premiere is for the newcomer, but I definitely think that it should be a guiding light of where you
Yes.
should go, a guiding
I
light, what you should train.
Yeah, I think Premiere has gained this false reputation. Well, maybe not reputation. This is my personal like opinion that I used to have before I actually started doing Premiere. And I used to think it was for like this elite group of people, right? The people that went to Europe, the people that won, the people that had fast dogs. And it's not. It is for the intermediate to advanced people, and we're just as silly as everybody else. I still, I still get lost on Premiere courses. I'm like, what is this? Where am I? I'm still just a regular handler. It's just in a Premiere course. I'm not elite. I'm not, better than everybody else. It is just a different style of agility.
Well, and I think that one thing, if you look at it not as um it's out of reach, and that the cues are difficult to acquire if you don't have the skills, I think it should be a what to strive for, what to train. It will open up every hole in your training. So it will highlight every hole in your training, if you go and do Premiere and you don't cue, or even if you cue, you will see places where you're like, wow, we barely got through that, right? And so can you clean that up? Can you give more clarity to your dog of what you're asking? Because when you tell Dot in, if you give her enough time, she knows exactly what you're asking her to do.
Oh yeah.
If you tell her get back, if she has enough time, she knows exactly what to do. And that kind of level of training, then it comes down to handling of how soon did you give her the information, and did you set her up correctly for a good line?
Right.
And so and if you didn't, it shows you, and especially if you videotape it and you go back and you watch, it can show you exactly where the errors started to occur or did occur, and help you to hone in on the skills that you either need for a dog training skill or for a handler skill.
I agree.
Okay.
Will you be putting Eli in Premiere when he's
Eventually.
mature?
Yeah, when he's ready.
Yeah, I think we made a deal a few months ago when he was a baby. I said, well, you've been running Dottie for 2 years, so can I run Eli like once or twice? So I would like to cash in my coins now. I want to put Eli in a Premiere class.
I will totally let you run Eli.
Yay!
Absolutely.
Is he here in the room with us right now? I haven't seen him at all. Is he
He's
with you?
sleeping. He's sleeping next
Oh,
to me. So, okay, so let's talk about foundations now that we're on to.
yeah. Should we talk about Eli?
All right, so you talked about uh, a guiding light of where to head towards in pushing yourself as a handler, pushing your dog in their skill set. I want to talk about not pushing your dog past, not pushing your dog over their skill set. And
Speaking of Eli, just elbowing my way in here. If you have a puppy right now, you should not be training for a Premier. So if you have a dog that's like, I don't know, a baby, right? A dog that's not doing agility, you do not have to train that dog like it's going into Premier. Like you just have to get the foundations down.
yeah, but interestingly, so some of the foundations are going to lead right into Premier, which is
Oh, definitely.
phenomenal.
Absolutely.
All right,
But
so
you shouldn't be putting a baby dog on Premier courses,
oh God, no.
in
Okay,
my opinion.
so
Whatever.
so these are some of the foundations that I've worked the last week. So I talked in a prior podcast, I talked about the healing, right? The obedience, the healing on both right and left. I talked about stay. And so those absolutely continue. So here are some more of my important foundation pieces that I've been working with is the transition times, the transition between taking the leash off and moving towards what will eventually become a start line. And what happens the moment the leash comes off? Does the dog leave? Do they go to other people? So I've been working with other people in the arena with me. I've been working with people on the sidelines. I've been working with other dogs in the arena with me. And what happens the moment the leash comes off? What is Eli doing? And what I've been training him to do up to now is look at me. Look to me for direction, look to me for reinforcement, look to me for connection. And I've been rewarding that heavily every single time we do it. I've been rewarding every time we go out of a door and he turns around and looks at me. Right there, bud, there's a cookie for you. That is what I want. I want that connection that when we transition from one behavior to another, when we take the leash off, when we go out a door, when I release you off of a table or when I release you out of a stay, is it just transitions into another behavior. And so rewarding him either with play, with even just my voice, but definitely rewarding with reward. And every single one of his trainings up to this point has included his breakfast or his dinner. I don't know that I have fed him out of a bowl once.
That's really good.
He's never had, so I've done some puzzle toys with him, so that if that's equivalent to a bowl, but every single one of his meals has been either working towards confidence, working towards relationship, working towards enrichment. He hasn't, the only thing he's ever had in a bowl is either if we're working towards targeting, like going out and targeting into a dish, or having water. He drinks water out of a bowl.
Oh, yeah. Do you do the water on cue thing? It's great.
Yes, he has been learning to
Good. Yeah, that's the best thing I've ever taught Dottie.
Yeah.
You've heard it here, folks. Teach your dog a water cue.
Yeah, give your dog a water cue, give your dog a potty cue. So those, and he's been learning to potty and poop on cue in different locations. That
Wow.
is some of my foundation stuff.
Yes.
Other foundation stuff that I've been doing is working towards his resilience on noise and movement. So like teeter work, right? So not actually using the teeter, although he just saw a tippy board. So he's seen a wobble board a whole bunch of times. He's been on a wobble board since I think he was 4 weeks old. He's been on and off of a wobble board, but he saw a tippy board for the very first time in our puppy exploration class that I attended last Monday. And he took to it like, yeah, just another type of a wobble board. I got it. But he hasn't done anything towards the bang game on a real 12-foot plank. It's just been on these shorter, but no problems with noise. So I've been doing what I call the demolition game, which is with Tupperware and different objects where he finds cookies underneath Tupperware, kind of like the shell game, but a little more advanced. He's been doing what are called movement puzzles, where he goes, which it's Marley. Oh gosh, look up the moving canine, I think is her thing. Her first name is Marley. Her last name is like Valga, Valga, I think. So she does these movement puzzles, which Eli really enjoys, where he goes around cones and then over stuff. So I've introduced planks. I've introduced a balance pod. And I want to introduce some more stuff, like a ladder, stuff like that. So I'm excited about all that foundation that we've been doing. Yesterday, we went and worked in an agility competition arena. We didn't do any piece of equipment except the tunnel. We did do tunnel to target plates. We did recalls. I did recalls in there with another person in the arena with me. And then we did transitions from tugging to calm, back to tugging, tugging to sits, and worked on our outs, worked on our stays, but no piece of equipment. He didn't go around one jump stanchion. He didn't, he did put his paws on the A-frame because I've taught him to go on everything. So
he also put his paws on my car, but we don't need to talk about that either.
He did put his paws on your car. And he did the pause table because we happened to be in close proximity to it, and he automatically jumped up onto the pause table. In fact, I was walking towards the pause table, not in any anticipation of doing the pause table, and he beelined for it and jumped onto it and came to a screeching halt on it, which of course I had to reward, but I don't like that acceleration at this young age. I've taught him to go on everything. I mean, and that is one of the problems that I'm starting to encounter is him going on everything without permission. And so if I'm in proximity to something, or if we're driving towards it and I haven't cued him to do something else, like look at me, so his name or a recall, he's continuing on a straight line towards these objects. And he ran right towards the A-frame yesterday and put his paws on it. I'm like, no, we're not doing an A-frame, even though I know he could physically do it. And I know that he has the confidence to do it. I don't want him doing it. He doesn't have the maturity yet to handle his body, to handle the speed, to handle the end behavior that I want. So, getting on stuff and targeting stuff is one thing, but having control of his body and his speed and not jumping off from 2.5, 3 feet, that's what I'm trying to prevent. And so while I know physically he can do it, and I, physically as in, he can physically get up and over, I'm not doing it, and I don't want him to do it specifically because of his age, right? Like him having the ability to do it is one thing, but him having the physical maturity to do it, he does not have. So his bones aren't growing, or his bones aren't solidified. He's still growing. And there's just way too much danger for impact problems, and just one wrong move, I could send him backwards weeks, if not months of training.
Yeah, I know we didn't train Dot's contacts till she was a year, and that was just A-frame and dog walk, not even the teeter. And because she was small, her bones are smaller dogs generally tend to stop growing quicker around like a year-ish than like large dogs. So like border collies will take up to 16 months before they're like fully formed. I actually had a question about Eli because I genuinely don't know this. Are you going to teach him stopped or running contacts?
I don't know.
You can say yes.
Yes.
I want you to train running contacts because we've never had.
He's definitely going to have a stopped on the teeter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I mean,
I'm not sure yet. I mean, because if I teach him running, then I want to teach him directionals off of the running.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see the benefit of running, and I see the benefit of stopped, but I would like to try running.
Yeah, I would like you to try running.
Here's something though that's kind of fun, is that my instructor, she said she has a theory. At least she used to have a theory. I haven't talked to her about this in a few years, but she has a theory that dogs that jump off the stairs from, they're coming down the stairs just regularly. Dogs that jump off from stair number 3 or 4 and land on the landing in a thump, they're more likely to jump contacts than those that run all the way down. Than those that run all the way down.
That's a good theory, actually.
It's an interesting theory. So I suppose I could, but of course, obviously, training, can influence positively or negatively that assumption. But so far, in coming down the stairs every morning, all but one time Eli has run all the way down to the very bottom.
Oh, what a boy.
And that one time that he did jump up from a higher stair was only from stair 2. So I am, if Kelly's theory is correct, and
you've got a running contact prodigy on your hands,
I might be successful in running contacts, but don't be fooled, people out there doing foundations.
Yeah.
Running contacts can be just as difficult, if not more difficult, than stop contacts. And so even the best out there, golly, I mean, there's a whole thing of a running contact support group.
Yeah. My reason for asking is just because the foundations for running and stop contacts is different. And obviously we're not going to teach Eli contacts of any kind until he's older. But I was wondering at what point you would start the running contacts, like I know it was back feet in the box. So you have a target, right? And you want your dog to hit their back feet. You want your dogs to hit, their feet in the box. And that is the foundation of it before you even touch a contact obstacle.
Yeah, and there's different theories on front feet versus back feet. So stretching to grab with their front feet, and changing stride to hit with their back feet, or changing stride with either of them. But and there's new and evolving ways of teaching running contacts. And so I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Running.
But that being said, whether I choose to do stopped or running, we are doing foundations towards that already. So some of these movement puzzles is running over a mat. Right?
Yeah, there it is.
And that is essentially the very, very beginning of contacts, whether it be stopped or running.
Eli's going to be like Terminator, where by the time he gets to novice, he's going to be like, I won't do the accent, but he'll be like, what is this? Like, why would I have to do this? He's like, just put me in excellence. He's going to be...
Don't jinx.
So talented. Oh, wait. I'm jinxing myself off. You guys listen to the... I don't know. Well, okay, words don't do anything. It's the leash. It's the leash that curses you.
No, don't jinx my dog.
Yeah, listen to our...
Even if he never makes it into the agility ring, let's just say something goes down in his life. This little dog has been so much fun already.
He has brought you a lot of joy.
Golly, he really has. So when you were born, I stopped doing dog training to raise you. I wanted to be I did. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom with you. And
that's so nice.
And so I dedicated all of my time to raising you. And jury's still out whether or not I did a good job. But,
yeah.
But when I went back to dog training, I really, really loved going back to dog training. And I absolutely loved raising you, but I love going back to dog training. And that is kind of how I feel with Eli being in my life, is that going back to a puppy and raising a puppy, it takes me back to all that early overly nitty-gritty training that I absolutely love and adore. And so even if he never makes it onto the agility course into a competition, I have absolutely loved training him. And so I'm just thrilled with what we're doing. And so talking about foundations, I wanted to.
I have to go to dinner. So I will see you guys later.
No,
I go get them, people.
No,
I love
Emma,
you because you gotta go.
Leave. Emma, please.
Mom, I'm seriously, I have to go.
Just one more thing.
We're gonna go look at it. We're gonna go look at an apartment after. So we have to be on time for dinner.
Okay, just one more thing.
Bye, go get them, people.
No,
I love you.
Please, just one more thing.
I'm serious. I have to go.
All right, you say goodbye. You say goodbye.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Okay, bye, go get them, agility, people. Love you. Love you too, Mother. Bye-bye. Bye, Eli.
All right, Emma's gonna miss a very important fact. So I read somewhere the other day that dog trainers, one of the differences between dog trainers and pet dog people is the amount of reinforcement that we give our dogs. And so in teaching all of these foundations, I started counting. So what the person wrote is that dog trainers reward anywhere between 8 and 12 times per minute, which is not what pet dog people do. And so I'm doing all these videos of Eli and all of his foundations. And so I counted for a full minute, watching one repetition for a full minute. And lo and behold, I think I rewarded him upwards of 12 times in that 1 minute. And I can't remember what the behavior was, but those foundation pieces of attention and relationship building are directly influenced by how much feedback I'm giving him. And my best way of giving him feedback that he likes, that he finds rewarding, is through food. While I am building this relationship and these connections, right now, I am building that with his dinner. And I'm building it at a rate of 8 to 12 cookies per minute, which makes my training sessions short because I'm using his breakfast and dinner. And there are other treats in there every once in a while, but most of his training, most of his foundations so far has been through breakfast and dinner. All right, I'm saying goodbye. Emma already said goodbye. Thank you for listening. Go get them. Please like and subscribe. Woof, woof.